Welcome, Strategy Battle Gamers, to another GBHL YouTube channel video. You are here with your GBHL channel host, GBHL James and GBHL Bilbo. Down in the cellar with me on this Sunday. Now, I've got no idea how long this Speak Friendly Question is going to last for, because Jane is currently at church with Eleanor. Eleanor's getting christened in about a month and a half, so she's got to go down and do maths and all that kind of stuff that they have to do. I would have been with them, but I've been working this morning. So as soon as she gets back, I know that we're going up to meet her cousin. So hopefully this will be a cool Speak Friendly Question. As ever with the live Speak Friendly Questions, if you've got questions as we go, I can see the live chat next to me here, the live feed, and we can answer your questions as and when. There are a lot of things that are going on right now that you might want to ask questions about. And also, I'll be answering the questions from the last Q&A, which was done very kindly by GBHL Jamie and GBHL Harry, which is really cool. Really nice to see some different faces on there as well. So let's get started with the questions from last time out. And remember, if you do have questions, just ask them in the live chat feed next to this. Okay, so I'm going to start off with just laptop kicking off for me. Press the button. There we go. We're going to start off with Magnus B here. So excuse me looking down to the side where the laptop is. Obviously I've got Bilbo on my knee, so I can't put the laptop here, and my Mac is being really bad on the trackpad at the moment. It's not letting me click read more. Let's actually try and get this up here. Hello, James and Bilbo. Hello, Bradardo Capelli. Welcome to the live Speak Friendly Question. Okay, so Magnus B, I will bring this here. Hey, I'm building a list consisting of the 3 hunters, Aragorn Strider from the Arnor list, Gimli Son of Gloin from the Free Folk, but then I have to take Legolas from the Thranduil's Hall list, because the plan is that they have a warband of rangers each. Going for fluff or fun with the list, but can I have Legolas from the Hobbit era mixed in with Aragorn and Gimli? I could probably just read and find out for myself, but I'm new to the hobby and I just wanted to get in the loop. Keep up the good work. Absolutely. So if you want to bring the Legolas from the new Thranduil's Halls lists and you want to bring him leading Mirkwood Rangers, you can absolutely do that, and then have you know, Aragorn Strider in there. I guess you mean Aragorn Isildur's heir if you want to bring rangers from the Ranger of the North Arnor list, of course, and Gimli Son of Gloin from the Free Folk. If he's bringing rangers, remember, do bear in mind the bow limit and the like. Okie dokie. So thanks for that, Magnus B. Next up, we've got Peter Holden. Hi guys, really enjoyed the discussion again this week. Regarding my army list special rules, what do you think about army special rules that make certain models a must-take in their lists? Is this a good or a bad thing? Good afternoon, Jorge Arnold. Welcome to Speak Friendly Question. Okay, so do I think it's a good or a bad thing if there are auto-includes? I don't think that's a good thing. I am a big fan of list diversity and creating a kind of decision for your list building. So you don't look at it, for example, when you look at Rohan, unless you really are going for a particular kind of theme. If you want to optimize the list, you absolutely take Erkenbrand. Okay, that's a must. It doesn't really give you any decisions as things stand, where it's like, well, should I take Erkenbrand or should I take Theoden? Which one's going to, you know, help me the most? So I do like the idea of things not being a given. If something's an auto include in a list, then something is either wrong with that, or there is something wrong with everything else. Okay, so hopefully that helps with that one. Next up, we got Terry Young. I think you should consider making Army List reviewing its own video series instead of being part of Speak Friendly Question. It's something that GBHL Jamie and I discussed a long time ago before everybody else was involved. I think the video was going to be build me an army worthy of Giblin. Obviously, Jamie doesn't like, as much as he loves army building. You know, army building is a huge, big thing for Jamie. He loves that. He loves looking through lists. I know that he enjoys it when he receives kind of private lists, for example. He enjoys the back and forth talking about what is better. Me and him have done that many times before we've gone to events. He's big on that. But interestingly, he doesn't like going through army lists on Speak Friendly Question. And I think that's sometimes it's because of even just the format of how they're put, or the volume of them, or how confusing sometimes it can be to read other people's kind of way of putting down an army list. So build me an army worthy of Giblin was actually, originally it was going to be Jamie, quite a polished video almost it was, where we picked out one or two of the, or a couple more of the army list that we would get from Speak Friendly Question, and he would kind of go through it in a kind of nonchalant way, be like, ugh, you know, this is terrible and this is awful and you should do this and do that, and if something was alright he'd go, you know, okay, yeah, that's good. And it was going to kind of go along that kind of theme, and it just never ended up happening. Then it was something that I was going to do, keep the show name, but so that Jamie wouldn't have to go through that. And then, of course, as things have moved on, that's just, you know, never really happened. But maybe one for the future. Who knows? Who knows? So let's see if we've got any on the live feed. So through. The Big Goblin 86. Can I use Panic Steed on an Iron Hills Chariot? I don't have the Iron Hills Chariot rules in front of me, so I've got no idea, and I've not got the. Well, I've got the rule book here. Let's have a quick look at Panic Steed. Spells, Panic Steed. I might have the book in there somewhere. Let's just see spells. I don't really want this to be a video of me looking through the rule book and trying to find things out for you all. I'll only tell you things that I know. I'm not very good at that anyway. Where's Panic Steed? Panic Steed. No, those are special rules, not spells. Magical powers. Panic Steed. Let's have a look. Maybe someone could answer that quickly for me. Good afternoon, Son of Gloin, as well. Thanks for joining us. I know there's a few of you joining us right now on this Sunday. Happy Sunday, everybody. Hope you're all chilling out. Maybe painting some models. That'd be good, wouldn't it? I wish I was painting some models today. This power may only target mounted models, even those on monstrous mounts. So I'm not sure whether chariots count as being a mounted model or not. You have to go and find that out for yourself. Sorry that was not helpful at all. Let's have a little look here. And I'm only going through that like that just because I don't want to spend too long in depth on sort of, you know, going through rule books when I'm doing Speak Friend and Question and trying to find things that, you know, I don't know off the top of my head. Instead, let's try and get through a few questions. Terry Young said, I completely agree that warrior upgrades like Westfold Red Shield should be limited to the associated hero. You mean like if they bring the warband, they can only bring... maybe. I don't know. Maybe. No, I kind of like it if you can do it across everything. But I also like the idea that... I don't know, I kind of like hero buffs, and I don't mind them being across an army. I think it brings a little bit of diversity, you know, and again, it's something in the list building, you know, should I pay that point to do this? I think some of them are a bit of a given, but some of them aren't. So, for example, the ones that give you plus 2 inches movement, like the Marauders from Malheur or Gildor, you know, that's not really a given. You don't look at it and think, oh yeah, I'll pay a point for that. There is a bit of decision making. It's not like, oh yeah, you have to do that. With the Westfold Red Shields, probably more that way. But then again, in a higher points game, if you're going for a more skirmishy force, do you really need to fight 4 across the board? You know, you could get a few more bow shots in there and a few more models for your towards your break point. So I don't think any of them are a given really. You know. Even things like Warrior of Karna upgrades and Castellans of Umbar or Venom Blade Knights, none of them are right. You should do this every single time. I think probably the closest one to that might be the Westfold Red Shields, but I don't think it's something which is breaking the game at the moment. That's making the game worse. I think it just brings a bit of diversity. Crodocan, he's put, love the live format but missed this episode though. Very nice ETC shirts. Yeah, so I made a couple of jokes when I was joining in with the live feed of the guys doing it last week. Of course, they're over in Germany playing Toy Soldiers with a bunch of other dudes from Europe. I think there's about 12 different countries involved, which is pretty good. And they've got their England rugby top style jerseys on with the roses on. I believe that the English team are... I believe that the English team are top right now, just ahead of Poland. That sounds like they're all having a good time over there, so that's the important thing. And I believe that Crodocan is there with the Swedish team, which is great. So hopefully you guys, I mean, what I think is good about everybody meeting over in Germany at the moment is that there are teams of people there who weren't at Ardicon and weren't at the World Team Championships that we did in Manchester last year. So we had 17 different countries, at least I think last year. 144 players, and there are teams that have gone to the ETC, like guys from France, guys from Sweden. I'm just trying to think of any others that weren't. Spain as well, who weren't a part of Ardicon. I mean, Ardicon last time we had Greece, Italy, USA, Canada, Belgium, the Netherlands, we had all those guys as well. We had Ireland, you know, we had all of that, and it's good to see that there are other teams that are out there and other communities out there that that weren't at, you know, SBG International. So hopefully they can make it this year as well. That'd be awesome. King Boneseye, thank you for the shout out and advice, Durin's advice. I'm sure the guys will appreciate your thanks. Let's have a look at the live feed. Son of Gloin, I wish I was painting too. Dissertation headaches at the moment. 5 days to go. I'm sure you'll be fine. Take breaks, chill out. You know, it'll all be done soon. Ina Bratz said, I rarely see Grimbold included in Rohan lists. Why is that? He seems like a good addition with the strength upgrade. Okay, so this is from the live feed, so thank you very much for that, Ina Bratz. So Grimbold, when people used to talk about Rohan pre-Hobbit era, you know, I think it was pretty kind of well established that an all-mounted Rohan force didn't really work, because at the time there hadn't been an FAQ to give them 100% bows, which is one of the things that can make that force work a bit, or make it a bit more viable. So it's kind of one of the few ways that good armies could get strength 4. But of course, since the Hobbit era, you know, people can have axes for free, and axes piercing striking can give you that additional strength. So all of a sudden, having a baseline strength 4 isn't necessarily as important. And the problem with that, if you bring Grimbold along, so it used to be, oh, you must have heroes really, is you know, bring Grimbold if you bring in Rohirrim infantry, or, you know, Rohan warriors, and bring Erkenbrand if you're bringing riders. And now that's less so the case, because also Grimbold himself isn't particularly great. He's a Rohan captain who it can't go above defense 5, and he has a two-handed weapon, can't be mounted, he's only fight 4, he's not great. So you know, even though you're upgrading your warriors of Rohan strength 4, I mean, I tell you what, he would be viable if you could mount him. So if you had the option to bring a horse, and if he could you know, use his two-handed weapon, maybe Burley on a horse, be slightly more expensive, that would be great. But if his strength 4, if he could upgrade riders to strength 4, then that would be interesting. And you could only do sort of one or the other kind of option. So you couldn't do necessarily Westfold Red Shield and the strength upgrade. You had to choose between fight 4 and strength 4 riders. And then it becomes, we've got that choice that we were talking about before. So that's why we don't see Grimbold that much anymore, mainly because he's not particularly great. His upgrade would have been good in the past, giving you know, good infantry strength 4, which is quite rare. But of course, with axes now, piercing, striking, yeah, it's not necessarily as important. So I hope that helps. Okay, so back to the questions from last week. King Bones, I put, what do you think about this Angmar list I'm working on in my mind? 800 points, Witch King with 323 on Fell Beast, good start. Drumalake on a horse, Shade, Badur, Shaman, and about 30 orcs with one with a banner. What do you think of this list? Who should my general be? Should I give up any orcs for spectres? Thanks, Durin Sun. I always think it's worth having maybe, you know, one spectre. A spectre can be useful, especially in a list where you've got wraiths. You know, the fact that you can move something for 4 if it fails a courage test and you've got the -1 to courage, that could be very, very good at sort of pulling an enemy hero out or an enemy cavalry out that you can then jump onto and like heroic combat off, or, you know, do any other kind of funny business that you want to do. Sorry, Jane trying to ring me there. Hello? I believe that just cut off. Jane tried to ring me, which of course she can't do. Which probably means that she's on her way back from church now, so I probably won't be here for much longer. I think in that force, you're probably going to want the Dwimmerlake to be your general, because he's not going to be getting to combat. Whereas your Witch King looks like he's, although he's got the 20 will, he's got the 3 might, he's probably going. He's on a Fell Beast. He's going to be being combatty. Badur's combatty. You don't want the Shade to be your general, and you don't want the Shaman to be your general. The one thing I would say about that list is, you know, 30 orcs at 800 points, you know, I'd probably want a few more numbers looking at that. So I'm not sure what you would necessarily look to drop. Probably Badur. That's what I would look at, and maybe drop Badur and try and get even more orcs in there. You know, because otherwise you're asking your heroes have got to do an awful lot. But good luck. Let me know how you get on with that army. Next up, we've got King Boneseye again. I'll probably start some high elves if they expand them. I like the old armies of Middle Earth, but at this point, what makes a good high elf army? During some, well, quite interestingly, at the Desolation of Stockport, high elves High Elves actually were top table final game. I think High Elves came second or third. Can't remember if James Long came second or third, and Mikolaj brought High Elf Army. Quite a different kind of High Elf build than what we've seen before. Usually when people build the High Elf armies, High Elves themselves are actually quite expensive. And they've got some really, really good heroes. You tend to see quite low troop numbers, when people are building a High Elf army, because the heroes are expensive, but the heroes are really good. Or you tend to see sort of all-hero High Elves, which is very, very, very powerful and potent, I have to say. But High Elves are reasonably solid. Your Fight 5 is always good. I think your Strength 3 can be a little bit of an issue. But they've got some great heroes that can lead them. So I hope that's that's useful in some way. Back to the live feed. Son of Gloin, cheers pal. Just can't wait to get back to the hobby, especially with that chariot picture coming out. Yeah, the chariot looks cool. It looks cool. That's probably not a miniature that I'm going to be getting. I can't imagine ever painting or using it, but it looks like great fun. It looks like something I'd love to play against. One thing that I have got, of which there is going to be an unboxing on Monday, is the new Thranduil. Wow. Now that is a model. That's a cool model. Loving the stuff coming from Forge World, so keep up the good work, guys. I'm very, very, very excited for Ardacon this year, and the Forge World guys, the Middle Earth team, are of course going to be there, and they're going to be a big part of supporting the event again this year. So super, super, super stoked for what those guys are going to be bringing this time round to Ardacon SBG International. Obviously, it's brilliant to have that kind of support for a community event, and especially with so many people coming to Ardacon from around the world, it makes sense those guys being there and doing the things that they're going to be doing. I'd love to say more, but of course I have to keep it all a little bit shh. But if you're coming to Ardacon this year, then expect a huge amount of support from the Middle Earth team and Forge World, who are going to be there in force. Going to be a huge, huge, huge presence. Very exciting. Got a question from Son of Gloin. If you could make a board set anywhere in Middle Earth, where would you choose? I'd love to sort of see a Rivendell board. I think that would be really, really cool. Yeah, I mean, depending on what it'd be made out of, it'd be a nightmare. But if you're going to have something on display, I think that would be super, super, super cool. I like the idea of that. Jorge Arnold, looking at the rules for there and back in Thranduil's halls, would you keep Thranduil on foot and let his Blade Master special rule kick in, or mount him on an elk and let the strikes be resolved at strength 5? It's an interesting one, Jorge, because a lot of people... Blade Master is awesome, but I tend to... I don't know whether that's because I've got the kind of cavalry background. Charging with a hero, getting other things in there, and that initial charge and heroic combat and often spitting off into something can be quite cool. I mean, it does. You do have a decision to make, don't you? But I think that strength 5 charge in 2 wound mount is pretty decent. I'd take him on that. I think I'd take him on that, and probably you'd get off a couple of charges, and then you'd look to probably dismount him if you were kind of outnumbered, maybe. But it also makes a tough decision for your opponent as well when you're fighting against him on the elk. Do you try and kill the elk, spend your resources on that? Probably not. You probably want to keep him on his elk and then hope he doesn't get the charge off if he loses a heroic move off, and that's kind of what you want, really. Son of Gloin, nice. Thranduil looks class. I'll definitely be buying him at some point. Absolutely, me too. Okay, so back to the questions from last week. Stephen Bonar, who likes the guys' t-shirts, the Team England t-shirts. Question this week are, in your opinion, would we see more Dwarf Rangers armed with bow if they were 8 points? Possibly, yeah. I mean, they're not fantastic, are they? Quite expensive for what you're getting. Equal points of Warg Riders or Mordor Troll in my Horde Mordor list, supported by a Fell Beast Wraith. A Mordor Troll, could be good fun. You tend to have quite a lot of models in your armies anyway, so maybe go for that. A single Fell Beast Wraith, which, if any, is perceived a better choice? A single Fell Beast Wraith, which, if any, is perceived a better choice? Cheers, guys. It depends completely on your army build, So at the moment, there appears to be, with some of the changes to scenarios, that the Shadow Lord is back on the menu as being quite important to protect you against that bow fire. But the best wraiths, Knight of Umbar, The ones that can kind of negate their issues, you know, Knight of Umbar is very, very good. And the Undying, solid choice for a leader. Casting for days, you know, probably not going to disappear anytime soon. So those are probably the best ones, I would say. But the Witch King can be good as well, you know, it can fit any kind of role at higher points. You've got your Staff is Broken, get rid of those wizards that you might come up against. So, hope that helps. Matt M, hello, what are the differences between the new Guahia model and the Great Eagle models? Is there a size difference or is it just the poses? It's just the pose. It's just the pose. That was something that I was quite keen on, because the Finecast Guahia was not fantastic, in my opinion. And I would prefer sort of maybe doing a conversion to one of the Plastic Eagles are fantastic models. It's just the pose which is different. He's not bigger or anything, so you know you probably could get away with maybe doing some kind of conversion or scenic base for it to be Guahia, maybe a slightly different paint job. I think you could probably get away with that. I'm not a fan of the Guahia model, but I do have it. But that's the only difference. It would be good if he was a bit bigger. I agree with you. Chris Murphy put the video was good until the end. I didn't see the end of the video actually. Alex Hercombe, he's put, hey guys, another great video this week. Back in the loop after a couple of weeks of complacency. Well, now that you are back in the loop, make sure you try and watch these videos every time, even if you miss the live feeds. Of course, you can watch them in retrospect. My first question this week is regarding a topic brought up in the most recent Green Dragon podcast. Also, shout out to those guys for the great work they do. Absolutely. Would the Hobbit SBG benefit from some flowcharts for turn sequence actions, much in the same style as Guild Ball? This was brought up over differences in playing in different regions. One they mentioned was heroic actions, where in Australia they played heroic actions as pass back and forth. When someone stops declaring, they cannot declare another action, where in the UK we play more as a counter action basis. Now, I hate to be one of those that kind of says, we're right, you're wrong, and again, I'm not going to be able to sort of pick up the rulebook and go through and find any kind of quotes. But there is no, you know, real, or because it can just go back and forth. I'm not going to be great. I'm not going to be great at explaining this because I'm never particularly good at kind of explaining rules. To be honest, it's not my forte. But yeah, I mean, it's the whole kind of right. I'll shield. I'll piercing strike. Oh, I didn't think about you piercing striking. So actually, I won't shield. Okay, that's fine. I won't piercing strike. That's it. It finishes there, and it's the same kind of thing with heroic actions. You say to your opponent, well, I always do it, I say any heroics, you know, and if they tell me that I've got to say them first, that's fine, because that, you know, that is actually explicitly stated in the rules. And the reason why that's stated in the rules is it's from before you had things like heroic strike. The heroics previously were all about upsetting the order in which things happened. So of course there would be no point in calling a heroic move if you had priority. So you kind of said to your opponent, any heroics. And if they said, oh, I think that might be Jane back now. If they said, yes, I want a heroic move, then you can say, oh, heroic move, for example. But that doesn't mean that then you can't go back and forth. You can go back and forth. And it's pretty straightforward stuff, to be honest. Never had a problem. It's Mummy. Okay, Bilbo, go and see them. Go and see them. Go on. Hello! I'll be up in a minute. Okay, another good question was one that came up in the One Ring forums this week. I thought it'd be a good question to ask here to get your opinions. Suppose to immolate targets a hero within range with the spell, and the hero decides to spend 2 points of will to resist. Do you roll Sap Fortitude once or twice if the model has 3 will and commits 2 to resist, and rolls twice, fails both? I've got completely lost in this. Targets a hero with range of spell, and the hero decides to spend 2 points of will to resist. Do you roll Sap Fortitude once or twice? If the model... Again, I'm not going to get bogged down in those types of questions. I'm really sorry. Best place to ask questions that are going to take a bit of explaining or getting the rulebook out or the like, especially when it's me doing this, is just get yourself on the Great British Hobbit League page and just ask the question there on Facebook. Yep, those are complicated questions, Alex, so I'm gonna skip through those for now because I don't have much time. What is the non-conventional colour scheme for a certain army, Blue Rohan for example, that you've seen and loved or you think would look great? Well, I always loved seeing sort of red and silver elves, but they've become more and more common sort of compared to the blue and gold. I always like seeing that. What else have I liked seeing colour-wise before? Seen some cool sort of Haradrim changes from sort of the blacks and reds. People going sort of beiges and purples and sandy colours and the like. That's been pretty cool off the top of my head. What else have I seen? Yeah, I can remember Murtaugh, James Baldwin, who of course is running the Drowned Earth Kickstarter. I hope you've all gone and checked that out. He painted some Mirkwood Rangers for Jay Finnegan, and they went for like an icy white and blue, and that was a bit different and interesting. So those are some of the different ones that I've seen before. Carl Pilkey01, congrats on 6,000 subscribers, GBHL, my dudes. I know, isn't that mad? I was saying the other day, because Hotgates Gaming, which is the other channel that I run, has just recently just gone over 2,000 subscribers, which I'm super chuffed about, and over 100,000 views. And I can remember, like someone said, oh, well done, you know, great channel, and that kind of thing, which is obviously brilliant. Thank you for supporting. I can remember when Jamie and I got excited when we got 100 subscribers on the GB cast, and we were in the scout hut where I used to run classes. I used to run circuit classes and yoga classes in the scout hut in Cheadle, and he came down to meet me after one. And yeah, we did. I think we did a prize draw for a Gandalf. I think it was prize draw for a Gandalf. And we were super excited to get 100. So I mean, I'm sure you can imagine when we got to 500 and when we got to 1,000, it was mind blowing. Now we're at 6,000. It is very, very flattering. So thanks so much everybody for your support on GBHL podcast, and everybody who subscribed to Hotgates Gaming as well. You know, that means the world. That helps me personally. So that's brilliant. Hobby Spot New Zealand, on the topic of army rules, I think High Elves rules should be able to shoot through 2 ranks like in the first movie. Yeah, I think that could be pretty cool. That's a nice suggestion. Let's have a quick look at the live feed, see what people are talking about. Chris Lee, do you think that Amdur should have 3 attacks if he is the head of the Dragon Knight Order? Makes little sense how a Dragon Knight has 3 attacks and Amdur has 2, even though he is their leader. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe a similar rule to Thranduil, like you know, for every extra person in combat. You know, if he's against 2, he gets an extra attack. If he's against 3, he gets an extra attack. I think that could work quite well for him. You have to excuse me because I can hear Bilbo and Jane and everybody above me. So I'll try my best to stay concentrated. Ryan Matchford. Ooh, such a good time to come across this. Been away for ages with A-levels, but good to be back. Welcome back, Ryan Matchford. Adam G, good morning, afternoon, whatever time it is, everyone. Well, it is 12:30 here, so we're going to have to get ready because we're going up to Jane's cousins very soon. But just wanted to get a quick episode of this out for everybody, so you can get your questions in for next week, of course. Brodato Capelli, just sat painting up my Corsair Force. Nice. This is the best kind of format, obviously, for getting your painting done. Have been having a bit of a chat about converting up a small number of Reavers. What would you suggest the best base model for this? So, bearing in mind that Reavers are likely to be one of those things that get changed going forwards, I converted up mine using some Warriors of Erebor with their axe hands, which is, you know, pretty filthy. But another reason for that was that I wanted my dwarf rank not to piercing strike but to feint, because I like the sword maces. I like the swords on the dwarves. So that's not a bad shout. And then just use your normal Corsairs, and all of the Corsairs, even the ones with bows, you can convert to sort of having swords and axes or double swords. I would probably if you're converting them, I would keep an eye and maybe convert them to have double swords. I don't see them having axes in the future. Adam Garnett has commented, very filthy indeed. Adam Garnett, we filmed a Hotgates Gaming battle report some time ago, which is in the queue to release, and he was unfortunate to play against me. I just had my case with me. He'd already played against me at Rivendell Knights before. We'd filmed quite a few Rivendell Knights things recently, so I brought out the force that I used for the Warhammer World GT, which of course was the Corsair Reavers, Morannon Orc, Shadow Lord, and he played against that, which will be in a battle report on Hotgates Gaming very, very soon. That's why he's saying very, very filthy. Yes, yes they are. Ina says they love this live format. Cheers. Yep, absolutely. Yep, it's good fun. It's nice to do, and it's relatively quick for us. You know, I know that I can't be chatting for long. Everyone's getting ready upstairs, and then we've got to be going. So this makes sense, you know, because you can just jump on, get that interaction, get some questions out, talk to each other, and it gives you something. You know, we don't have to spend time editing it, which is really, really good. James's Miniature Space, hello everyone. Sounds like we're on the topic of filthy axes. Yeah, I've seen that coming up. You know, look, if you're gonna design an event to be a filthy event that attracts that type of play, then of course the rules allow it, so anything goes. But you wouldn't necessarily be going to that. So it's not like Ardacon as competitive as it was, you know. Just like any Swiss ranked tournament, you're going to end up playing against the people that you kind of want to play against. But at that, which is relatively small scale over in Hamburg, you know, if you're going there, you're going there because you want to play a particular kind of way, I imagine. You know, so you're probably going to come up against a lot of that. Brodato, Capelli, I only want maybe 4 or 5 out of a Corsair force of 60, not that filthy. Cheers for the tip on the swords. Yeah, double swords, probably a good way to go. I imagine, and I'm not in a circle, but I can imagine the obvious thing to do to them would be that they go to fight 4 and listed as having swords, and then they'd be fixed for their points. That would be fine. It'd still be good, but just not game-breakingly good. Let's have a quick look over here. So I've only got 2 more questions in the Speak Fan question from last week. Addy, and oh no, I've only got 1 more question. Hi, well done on getting over 6,000 subscribers. I know, it's pretty amazing. And remember, every time that you like a video, every time that you share it amongst your gaming groups or forums or any wargaming kind of page really, every time that you kind of get involved in the conversations, you comment, encourage other people to sub, it massively helps us, like really does. Got no idea the way that YouTube works and it's huge. So you know, keep that up, and thanks so much for all your support, everyone. From my point of view, both on the GBHL podcast, which of course I'm still very much a part of, but also on Hot Gates Gaming as well. Question: Cavalry don't get their bonuses in woodland terrain. How is it with fell beasts who have the fly special rule? Do they get the cavalry bonuses? I don't believe they can land in woodland terrain. Fell beasts. How many woodland terrain pieces might consist of only a few trees and therefore make it possible for flying mounts to operate in woodland, since there is enough room for the base of the mount? With the cavalry, they wouldn't get their bonuses in woodland, just like everything else, I believe. Again, I'm probably not the best person to ask specific rules questions when I'm in a rush and I don't have a partner, because I don't really I'm not good at remembering everything, and unlike when I play games at the table, for the most part, I don't really like presenting a video where I'm just looking through rule books trying to find answers for you guys that you could probably find yourselves just as quick or better than I do. I understand that there might be, you know, you might want me to know more, but I only know what I know. I'm a player just like you guys. Okay, so a couple more. I tell you what, I'll take 3 more live questions, and then I know this is a short one, but then that'll be it, because I've got to get ready and I've got to go. Jorge Arnold put, cheers for your answer. On the Thranduil question, to make a force more competitive, would you say allying in a Galadriel Stormcaller with a Wood Elf Sentinel is a good idea, or is it cheesy? You mean for Thranduil? I don't think you need it. I don't think it's cheesy either. Stormcallers aren't really all the rage anymore. Wood Elf Sentinels aren't particularly cheesy. Defense 3 model that goes down pretty easily, so I wouldn't say it's cheesy. If that's what you want to do, then that's fine. If it fits the theme of what you've got in your mind, it doesn't really fit any kind of theme in my mind, but if you want to do it, then you know, you can do that. That's absolutely fine. James's Miniature Space. On a slightly different topic, is there a way of building in monsters competitively into mid-low model count armies? Seems to me that people either go for loads of models or 3, 4 or 5. Yeah, you tend to see that, don't you? You tend to see, if you've got something which eats into your numbers, then people just tend to go for all the big things or go for all the little things. But there is room, you know, if you can afford it, to sort of, if you can get lots and lots of cheap troops and then have the big things, then that gives the double whammy of things to go about. So the reason why, remember, that's all to do with how easy it is to break an army. But I think there is a place for it, as long as there's enough threats that you're presenting to an opponent. You put, as in monsters in a 20-30 model count army, eagles with owls rather than 4 war bands. Yeah, maybe, but again, stuff like that eats in your numbers, and you've got to look at it. I mean, if you were to strip back all of the wonderful, obviously, fluff of Middle Earth and where we are and all that kind of stuff, if you strip that back, ultimately as a dice game, you've got to think of it as, okay, how many dice am I getting to roll? And, you know, if you've got a cave troll of, you know, 60 points, 3 attacks, courage 2, defense 6, or you could maybe have 6 high elves, for example, just as a basic kind of comparison. That's 6 dice versus 3. You know, it's more points sunk into one thing. I know that there's, you know, wounds, but I think that on the whole, people tend to have that kind of feeling that, you know, I'd rather have the numbers than forego that. But people do things. Adam G put cave trolls in Moria goblins. Yeah, people do things like that as well. Moria is quite a good example of sort of being able to hoard out one side and then get big things in as well. All kind of goblin armies are good examples of that, as are Hobbit armies. One of the reasons why we see Hobbit armies do so well isn't necessarily just because the Hobbit armies on their own, being able to bring obscene amounts of numbers and you know, and being pretty good as well, is that they allow you to bring in your wizards and the like because they're so cheap and it's not going to massively affect your break point. So I'll take one more question, and then I'm going to shoot off. Short video, nice short 25-minute long video, is it? That's an easy. One more question. Who's going to get it in? Going once. Going twice. Click enter if you want the question. Nope. That's it. I'm going to sign off. Okay. So thanks for joining me. Heads or tails? Good answer, Frederick. I love it. That was good. Oh, the tension, Adam G. Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be me. Got things to do today, but I did want to get on here and say hello to everyone. Good luck to everybody who's at the Seven Stones doubles tournament event down in London at Titans. Obviously, that's a great event. Last time I went there, you know, it was fancy dress, cakes, and doubles is a really kind of unique thing. It's one of the things that I loved, you know, what I love about Ardacon. I want to try and make sure that the doubles is you know, people don't take the doubles too seriously at Ardacon this time around. Try and build in a few bits and pieces which kind of help against that, because doubles is a really kind of fun, cool format, I find. Yeah. Cheers, James. Nice break from work. That's from Son of Glory. Cheers, James. Have a good day. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining me. You guys know what to do. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Support your Hobbit host by checking the links in the video description below. Remember, for myself, that's Hotgates Gaming. You know, please do go and check that out. Especially if, I don't know if any of you guys have seen Dark Souls, the board game, but I got to unbox it the other day. It's awesome. I'm going to be doing a bit of content on that. Even if you're not into the fluff, I had a little mini playthrough, and it's cool. It's really, really good fun. And you gotta love co-op games. Cooperative games are cool. Did anybody ever play Streets of Rage? Streets of Rage on the computer was awesome because you worked together. It was really cool. So anyway, guys, you know what to do. Like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, support your Hobbit hobby, and happy strategy battle gaming. Bye, everyone.